welcome to this week's TDD Weekly Report for the week ending June 8th. First up, this was sent to me by my friend 1954 Shadow, Bob. This is Heineken World Bottles. I don't know if any of you guys collect beer cans or beer bottles that used to be popular years ago. Well, back in the 60s, I guess Mr. Heineken himself was walking along the shore in the Caribbean, and he noticed the beaches were littered with beer bottles, and also he knew that in the Caribbean there was a shortage of building materials, so he decided to build this interlocking brick type of bottle. I guess it came in two sizes, 350 and 500 millimeters, and there were about 100,000 of them produced. Most people thought it was a very good idea, but unfortunately the only structures ever to actually be built were a shed at his house, and in the museum in Amsterdam, the Heineken Museum, there's a wall built of these bottles. I'll give you a quick view of them in a slideshow type of form. This is from Inhabitat.com, and the slideshow is from fastcodesign.com. As usual, all the links will be down below. Great idea. They designed it specifically to use as little mortar as possible. The only real problem they ran into was for designing the structure, some way to cut the bottles to make doors and windows. They couldn't really figure out that, so it did end up failing. They tried to revive it again in the middle 70s, but that didn't quite take off. So kind of like a tribute to a great idea in history. I still think as a basic idea it could work out if somebody would really take it, run with it, and develop it a little bit more, but right now it's just kind of like a little bit of a tribute to a historical idea, but I think a really cool one myself. And next up, this was sent to me by my friend Tony, KD4YSI. Thank you for sending this. This is the VC1. Actually, the VC1 is the prototype. The VC200 is what this company is developing. It's called eVolo, and the website is e-volo.com. It was hard for me to find at first, but I did finally find a video of it actually in flight, and I'll show you a little clip of this. This is just the prototype VC1, but they're going to try to get it on the off the drawing board and actually in flight by 2015. This is supposed to be, the VC200 is going to end up being a two-person flight model that strictly flies on electric with 18 rotors, but they're also on this VC200. It's going to have actually a fueled engine, but the fueled engine's only purpose is after about 15 minutes of battery time, when the batteries get low, to start up and charge the batteries. So I would call it more, instead of just an electric helicopter, I would call it more like a hybrid helicopter, but still a great idea and a great design, because it's just an upscaling of quadcopters, and they've had that in the six-bladed helicopters for a long time, and the stability problems and stuff like that with computer controls I think are more than worked out. So especially the safety factor of having 18 rotors, I imagine they could build in some kind of a safety system to where if one of the rotors fails, you could have the other rotors alongside it pick up the slack for a while and at least get you to a safe landing. So pretty good idea overall, really, scaling it up to size enough to carry two people. It's going to reach an altitude of 6,500 feet, and I believe travel at about 100 kilometers per hour for speed. So, you know, all in all, if it can do that, it could be a handy little helicopter to have. And next up, this is Robo Raven. This was sent to me by Kuka Rider. Thank you for sending this. This is a different type of flying craft, though. This is a flapping wing flying craft, and how this is different is they switched from one actuator flapping both wings to separate actuators, one for each wing. And I guess they had so many troubles with it in 2008, they basically shelved the project just because it was getting so frustrating. The problem with these kind of projects is if you try to get the design to change a little bit to be able to do different maneuvers and things like that, basically most of the time you end up with a crash and it destroys the whole model, and you have to start over again from scratch. So even minor mistakes are very costly, and you have to start over and over and over again, so it gets frustrating. But they stuck with it, and they actually got two individual rotors and the amount of battery power to make it fly for some amount of time. I actually asked a question, it hasn't been answered yet on the display they have here on YouTube for it, the video on YouTube. I asked a question, hasn't been answered yet, about what the flight time is running right now, because with two separate actuators it has to really go through the juice. But hey, even if the original flight times right now are only running 3 to 4 minutes, as actuators improve in efficiency, as batteries improve in efficiency, no telling what they can do. It actually got so good that a hawk attacked it. That's how good this thing was in flight, that it actually emulated a bird close enough that a hawk actually felt its territory was invaded and attacked this thing. So I thought that was kind of cool. Well, anyway, that's about it for this week. It has been mostly flying things because that's what you guys have been sent in. Send in what you're interested in. I always, this show basically is run mostly more than me. It's run by the people that send in the material and stuff like that, and it's based on what you're interested in. And I appreciate and I enjoy doing the kind of stuff because I love all kinds of gadgets and technology and science. So please keep on contributing, keep on sending. If I don't use everything on every show, remember, I always save it back for a later show if possible. So take care, everybody. Have a good week. I will catch you next week.